So, as a lot of you already know, I'm doing a video on interphobia, intersex issues regarding the intersex community. And that requires a lot of research. As you can imagine, it's going to probably be my longest video yet. But knowing the YouTube algorithm and how it approaches the intersex community, it's probably going to go under the radar. But nonetheless, I feel that it's something that needs to come out. This isn't that video. This is kind of like a precursor to that. More or less a reaction video to my research, which I wanted to look at this ABC Nightline report on intersex and how it affects people, especially people who believe that they were, well, not to put too fine a point in it, castrated or mutilated, or had their genitals mutilated. As a result, as probably some of you know, I actually suffer. That's not the right word. I was actually born with the rare condition known as the Chimera condition, and recently went into surgery to have a certain organ removed because I was building up toxicity as a result, which some people decidedly found extremely funny. Ironically, allies. But anyway, moving on. I wanted to take a look at this YouTube video on an ABC report, which is a part of my research, and I wanted you to see my reaction to it, because I've never really done a reaction video. Well, I haven't done a reaction video in decades. So before my intersex video is complete, because there's still a lot of work to do in it, I thought I would give my 2 cents on the issue. And from what people have told me, this is going to make my blood boil. So let's see what's on the agenda, shall we?
It is a wrenching dilemma. Your child is born with the anatomy of both a boy and a girl. These children used to be known as hermaphrodites. Now they're called simply intersex.
Just a general warning here. Hermaphrodite is actually an offensive term to us, so don't use it in our presence.
In the hospital, there's often pressure to perform surgery right away to make the gender clear. But tonight, you're going to meet someone who grew up and concluded the choice that was made was wrong. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
It's the first question when a baby's born. Is it a boy or a girl? Sometimes the answer isn't that simple.
They told me that he was intersex.
Intersex, meaning born with both male and female genitals.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, a little more diverse than that, but that's basically a way of pointing at it. It could actually be down to a chromosomal level as well. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on, shall we?
Pamela and Mark Crawford weren't bothered by the fact that the baby they were about to adopt was intersex.
That seemed like no big deal. Okay, what else?
It's more common than you might think.
These are good parents. These are great parents. The fact that they didn't even bother them or concern them that this was something that they wanted their adopted child at that, to decide for themselves. It didn't really bother them that their adopted child was intersex. So I give them kudos.
Roughly 1 in every 2,000 babies are born intersex each year.
About
There's
as many
no
as
clear
redheads.
protocol on how to treat intersex children. For decades, doctors have quote-unquote fixed the situation by surgically choosing
fix the
one gender or
situation,
the
yeah,
other.
right.
But now more parents are questioning whether that's the right thing to do.
The first thing I said when we heard, I said, don't let him get the surgery. He hasn't gotten the surgery, has he?
But he had, just after his first birthday, while in the custody of the state of South Carolina.
Wait, the state decided this? The state decided this? Why am I not surprised it's Carolina? Why the hell am I not surprised it's bloody Carolina? Oh, so currently Carolina is making as many, the Carolina states are trying to make as many anti-trans bills as they can, but they have no qualms in enforcing kids that aren't born in their particular binary, to go through surgery themselves against their, against their knowledge, against their will. Wow. The state decided. I want you to bear that in mind. These are, these are conservative states. These are Republican states, and they have decided to get involved. This is government involvement. This is literally government involvement in a transgender surgery from a state that is literally anti-transgender. I want you to think about that for a minute. Jeez.
Their intersex baby, MC, had been transformed surgically into a girl. But it was clear, even in toddlerhood, that MC felt and acted like a boy.
He was like, I feel weird because I don't feel like I should be going into the girls' room.
MC is now 9 years old. His parents asked us to keep his face off camera.
This is definitely the toy box
Yeah.
of a little guy.
I suppose that's a cute way of of defining what gender roles male and females get, but yeah, it's a boy's toy, okay? It's a boy's box, okay? I mean, I played with Transformers as a kid, also played with dolls and Care Bears, but don't tell my parents that.
You can just play with this stuff for hours.
MC's brother, Ben, says his little brother was robbed of his right to fully
straight.
live as a man.
What's happened to him was unnecessary, unjust, unconsented.
And he's been castrated.
And he's been castrated, so that is likely to have a lifelong impact.
And irreversible.
And irreversible.
35-year-old
That
Sypha
is
says he knows all about irreversible.
That is one way of putting it. Literally castrated at 1 year of age because the state decided that this poor boy's gender for him. I want you to remember that the state, a Republican state, the party that literally argues that the government gets too involved. Think about that.
35-year-old Sypha says he knows all about irreversible.
Heard of this guy? I've heard of this guy. He runs an intersex advocacy group, and I mention him briefly in my next video, but I want to see how this goes down.
Like MC, he was born intersex. A doctor assigned him female at birth, but it led to years of agonizing confusion.
At what age did you start questioning your gender?
Up until the age of 7, I thought that I was a boy. I was like, I'm a boy.
Sypha grew up in the Bronx, wearing Catholic schoolgirl uniforms, even went to the prom. It wasn't until college that Sypha started to ask serious questions. That's when he got a hold of his medical records.
This is how I found out. Okay, I found out through an ultra scam, but I literally found out because I literally had to wait for months on my medical records because I was born in an age where these weren't even computerized. These are still paper files, and wow, they literally had to scan in practically every bit of my documentation just to send me via email so I could just get answers to what was going on. I'm nearly 50 years old. I'm 47 this year. I'm nearly 50 years old. Can you imagine what it's like just finding out in my midlife? That's one hell of a crisis.
Initially, they wrote that I had ambiguous genitalia. They checked it, but then they scratched it out and they put that I was normal.
Oh,
then I
Jesus.
felt betrayed.
You were kept in the dark.
Of course.
Sypha says he had no idea that he even had undescended testes.
And this is kind of ironic. A lot of intersex people have no clue. But some of them go on to lead normal lives because they don't know. So the rate of intersex children may actually be a lot higher, but we don't know because a lot of people don't know that they're intersex. But like I said before, I want you to remember the population of intersex people is equal to the population of redheads. So how many redheads do you know? I would dare say quite a few. How many intersex people do you know? Probably a lot more than you think.
And no idea that a surgery at age 13 turned him biologically into a girl, though Sypha's mother tells us she trusted the doctors and consented to the procedure. But years later, Sypha still felt like a man. In his mid-20s, he decided to live as one.
I want to get the air bubbles out.
As a result, every week he must inject himself with testosterone.
I want you to remember this, must now inject himself with testosterone. This is a person that is literally literally forced to transition into who he is, because the state or a doctor decided that he was a she, he was a she. Can you imagine having to live through that now? Can you imagine literally having to live your life as a transgender person? He literally now has to face the problems and persecution trans people have to face because of his birth, because of the nature of his birth, because of what was done to him at birth. I want you to think very hard about that. It's bad enough that trans people have to go through this, but now intersex people like this gentleman here has to go through it because he wasn't born into the binary. The black and white binary is either a man or a woman. It was decided for him. That's a cruel joke, and no one's laughing.
Have a fear of like having man boobs.
And some in the intersex community are increasingly vocal.
These people are not disordered. They're just a bit different from other people.
Yeah, I want you to remember that Wikipedia puts it down as an abnormality, or a dysfunction. We are not abnormal. We are not a dysfunction. We are actually a lot more common than you think. We're just rare. Okay? Oh, jeez.
Protesting against premature operations performed on children.
Arguing intersex people should have the right to decide for themselves when they're ready.
Damn straight. All right? Damn effing straight. And I'm doing my best not to swear in this video. I tell you, they weren't kidding. This video is making my blood boil. I am literally... I'm okay. I'm okay. They warned me it would be triggering. And damn straight, it's pretty triggering. So, calm. I'm calm.
IFA is in agreement.
I do feel like I need to wear a suit.
And now is getting ready for an occasion more than 20 years in the making.
This is it. This is like a big moment.
He is...
Look at how nervous he is. He's literally... Well, wow.
He's about to meet with the doctor who surgically removed his testicles at the age of 13.
I can see how that would be a big deal. I can see how how you would like to swallow and wow, I don't envy you. I don't envy you because I hope you have a lot more patience with them than I would with mine, and I'm not a very patient woman.
Transforming him into a girl with his mother's consent.
A surgery he says he never wanted.
I'll probably have a whole bunch of emotions that come up.
He's the surgeon's signature right here, Terry Hensel.
Dr. Terry Hensel, notable in the field of pediatric urology for 30 years.
What would you say to Dr. Hensel if you were face to face with him today?
I think I would just ask him questions because he's a human being. And I think human beings make mistakes.
Turns out he's still practicing and...
Yep, still practicing. I'm not surprised. Yeah, human beings make mistakes. I think that's being very charitable. And I'll give him credit for that. But human beings can also be very ignorant and very cruel without even knowing it.
A professor emeritus at Columbia University. He says new parents with an intersex baby are often desperate to have their child fixed. Surgery.
Of course they're bloody desperate. Of course they're bloody desperate. They live in a world where people literally pressurize people to be either one gender or the other, or one sex or the other. They live in a world where they would be literally ostracized or teased or literally joked about, even from allies. Of course they're bloody scared. Of course they do. Especially with the information the medical community give them on average. Wow.
Surgically turned into a boy or girl as fast as possible.
So have you had parents thank you for intervening early?
All the time.
And what do they say?
Well,
he's lying. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. That is bullshit. Okay. Give him a chance. Let's see how the meeting goes.
Thank you for giving me my little girl.
Oh. Oh, good grief, good grief. I'm only halfway through and I'm already having palpitations. Whew. Oh my God. I can see where this is going to go.
It's microphallus.
The photos are too graphic to show on television, but Dr. Hensel wanted me to see just how ambiguous these cases can be.
What do you tell mommy that is?
Yeah, what is that?
Saifa argues.
Ooh. Okay. The reporter could at least be, wow. I mean, there's no real justification here. I mean, admittedly, this is probably the first time she's dealing with an intersex issue and stuff like that. But the way he's talking about it almost makes it feel that the mother has given birth to some kind of freak, some kind of monster. What do you tell the mother that is? It's kind of disgusting. It's really kind of disgusting that he's actually using genitalia as an argument. I would love to know what this man's stance on the trans issues are, on the trans issue is. I really would.
In his case, there was no medical urgency, but many doctors argue doing it younger can avoid painful scarring down the road.
Well, evidence has proven otherwise. When people actually find out, and sometimes when they don't, and when they find out later in their life, it can be really, really scarring. Sometimes when they don't know, the chances of dysphoria are pretty high. I mean, the evidence certainly outweighs the medical opinion in this matter.
Both physically and emotionally.
I think it's more parents' anxiety about information being disseminated about their abnormal child.
Whoa! Oh my God! I know he put it in quotes, but really, it's exactly what he's thinking. Abnormal child. Oh my God! How can somebody like this be practicing? How this is the 21st goddamn century. 1.7 may be a small number, but given the population of the world, that is not a particularly small number. Oh my... Oh. Whew. Sorry, I accidentally pressed the stop button there, but stop recording button by... Whew. But I needed the break. I did. I needed to take 5, because... Wow. Unless you had to take 5 on 5 minutes, it's wow. Okay, moving on.
Definition of gender normality is evolving.
A person's biological sex does not determine their gender.
Right, so gender is not in the genitalia.
It's not. It's in the brain, it's in the spirit, it's in the heart.
Nowadays, gender identity is more open, but during Saifa's time, it was kept quiet.
The criticism always is that, oh, you know, these doctors, they're playing God.
No, I used to. And I really liked it. But it wasn't the right thing to do.
There's a real sense that
something we can agree on.
Even patients from 20 years out were listened to, were heard that would be a big step forward.
Huge. I totally and thoroughly 100% agree.
So we asked Dr. Hensel if he'd meet with Saifa.
You'd be open to that?
Sure.
Today, Saifa is on his way from Atlanta to New Jersey for the meeting with Dr. Hensel.
I think it just feels so surreal. I haven't seen this man in 20 plus years.
What makes you nervous?
I have the stories of so many people.
That you're walking in there with?
Yeah.
Saifa says he never had a chance to be heard, but now that's about to change.
Good luck.
Terry Hensel?
Oh, Sean Saifa.
Hi.
Hey.
But before the dialogue even begins, Dr. Hensel tries to shut down the interview.
If something gets said and it's just the wrong twist, I can't let that happen.
Basically, if you try and say something that I don't like, that makes you feel uncomfortable, what do you think this young man's been through all his life? Literally everything's been a twist to him. Everything's been a twist to him, and now you're uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable with facing what you did.
I can't. I hope you understand that.
No, I don't understand. Well, actually, I do understand. You know what you do is wrong, which is why you want to control the interview. You've already controlled this young man's life enough, and you're worried about a little bit of discomfort. I'm literally talking to him like he can hear me. He can't hear me. He's not even likely to be watching this video. Oh, dear God.
But Saifa calmly and gently refuses to take no for an answer.
If you had it to do all over again, if you saw me as a baby with ambiguous genitalia,
I would bring it to a gender committee.
Right.
We would
Gender
talk
committee?
about the pros and the cons. If you have testosterone, you have a male brain.
Gender
male
committee?
Brain is a male brain is a male brain.
These days, many hospitals rely on a gender committee made up of an endocrinologist, ethicist, psychologist, even clergy, which
Wait, you get the church involved? You get the most transphobic body in America involved? Whoa! Oh my God! What? Oh! 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 I just put makeup on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
decides the course of action.
Point is that what happened to you, it was done not out of malice or not out of lack of thinking about it. It was done because that was the state of the art in 19, whatever the date was. I wanted...
In other words, I obeyed my orders like a good soldier. I think we've heard all that before. We know where that comes from. We know exactly where that comes from. Okay, we've heard that argument before. And no, I'm not going to use the parallel right here. But I think most of my audience know exactly what I'm talking about.
To make sure that you understand that our learning curve has increased dramatically.
That's when I joined the conversation.
But I'm wondering if you think physicians out there, or you yourself, who have some remorse about some of the surgeries that were done.
And no, I have no regrets.
That, in a nutshell, basically says it all. He has no regrets. Oh, we've learned a lot in the last, the last 20, the last 30 to 40 years. Things have changed, but I have no regrets for the harm I did you 40 years ago, even though I should have known better. I have no regrets for not knowing any better. No regrets at all. That's like an ex-member of the KKK saying, I have no regrets being a member of the KKK, even though I've decided I'm no longer a racist. I'm just putting it on the table. That's exactly what it comes across. No regrets. Wow.
Now, would I have done things differently? Absolutely. But I was dealing in my heart of hearts with what I thought was the right thing to do.
So, what did you think?
I think it was so interesting that moment when he said that he didn't have any regrets.
It's very telling.
Like, I was like, wow, that's, and I guess, you would have to do that in order to avoid feeling.
We asked Dr. Hensel to clarify his lack of regret.
If you want the truth, I don't feel regret about it because I did the best I could do based on what I knew.
Because there's no clear protocol on how to treat intersex children, these operations are still happening, which is why the Crawfords are suing doctors at Medical University of South Carolina and the state, claiming they assigned their adopted child the wrong gender.
I want you to remember exactly what that part of the report says. It's the 21st century. This is still going on, even though the medical community know better. This is still going on. And the clergy is involved too. Remember that. This is still going on.
The case involving their son, MC, could potentially provide a first-of-its-kind, precedent-setting ruling. We reached out to the hospital where the surgery was performed. They declined our request for an interview but issued this statement. MUSC will vigorously defend in this case with a preponderance of evidence that will also serve to explain why MUSC does not accept the information as alleged.
Doesn't accept the information as alleged. They have a boy here who has been forced to be a girl but is behaving like a boy. The information alleged. I got a feeling that the MCU is actually it's actually a religious hospital. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. I mean, I can't really look it up right now because I'm watching this right now. But I'll look it up. And if it's the case, I'll put it. If it's the case, I'll put it in my next video. If it's not the case, then I will apologize. But I got a feeling this is a very strongly religiously supported hospital. I put my money on it. Well, better not. I'm not really a betting woman, so.
There was no justification for mutilating his genitals. That's what they did. They removed his penis. They did unnecessary surgery on a happy, healthy kid.
For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in Charleston, South Carolina.
I was warned this was going to be triggering. I really was. And it was... I mean, I really only have known about the intersex condition for 3 months. And I'm still learning a lot, as it goes along. But it's not something I'm going to be ashamed of. It's not something I'm going to hide from or anything like that. It's literally a part of who I am. And yeah, there are people out there that they're rubbing their hands at the fact that I've announced that I'm trans, and even rub their hands about the fact that I announced that I was intersex. They made enough jokes about it. Trust me. I mean, they've made enough jokes about it. They've taken advantage of the situation to cause me as much pain as possible. But here's the rub. They can put me through all this hell and everything like that. I made a choice. I made a choice that would make me happy. And you want to know something? I am happy. Can't take that away from me. I'm angry at what has been taken away from me. I'm angry at what I could have been, given the choice. What I could have been. I could have chosen to be neither gender. In fact, that's a thing. There is no third sex in the United States. Only a couple of states identify, will allow you to put a third sex on your ID. And in many countries throughout the world, they don't even identify it at all. In fact, a lot of people can't even decide their own gender if they're intersex. They have to literally go through the surgery to even get identified as the sex that they identify as, even if they don't want to go through the surgery. The way the 21st century world treats the intersex community is disgusting. It's absolutely vile and disgusting as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't know what else to add to this. It'll all come in my upcoming video, Institutionalized Interphobia. And if you think this video has opened your eyes, it ain't a pretty picture out there, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of people in the intersex community that aren't a part of the LGBTQI community, and they're happy with that. Whatever they decide to do, but there are a lot that are, and I think that the LGBTQI community especially can do better. We can do better. For goodness sake, it's the 21st century. Let's act like it.